All right, we have made it to our final partner call. I just want to double check and make sure that everyone can see the actual presentation now instead of just my face. I'm going to assume that's a go. So today we're going to be talking about the tips and tricks for social media success. This is something that I care a lot about because I'm a millennial and I grew up with a computer, so I just know some of these things. But we get a lot of questions about like how do I promote my the things that we're doing through National Runaway Prevention Month to increase my following on social media, or why are we decreasing in the search results for specific search terms that should bring people directly to us. So hopefully we can address some of those things today. And unlike the past partner calls, I'm going to encourage you to jump in at any time to ask questions. You can take yourself off of mute and ask out loud, or you can ask in the chat. Let me actually make sure I have the chat pulled up here so that I can see everything that you guys are saying. But I really want this conversation today to be, or I really want this presentation to be super conversational so that I can get a good understanding of what it should look like in the years going forward. And I should make sure to answer all of your questions. So if you haven't attended a partner call before, you don't know me, my name is Christopher Smith. My pronouns are whichever you prefer to use at the time, as long as they're used respectfully from a place of love. And I am the Director of Marketing and Communications with the National Runaway Safe Line. I also produce and direct our podcast, which is called Let's Talk, a great resource to share out during National Runaway Prevention Month, because I am someone who doesn't come from the runaway and homeless youth community, or I haven't worked in the runaway and homeless youth community before National Runaway Safe Line. So I approach it as if I know nothing, because I don't. And it's great to hear from organizations like you about the problems that you're facing so that we can educate your community and beyond about the ways that they can truly support you and make a difference. And also the way that they can work with young people who may be struggling or things like that. So check out the Let's Talk podcast. I will talk about it all in our PM long, so you won't be able to miss it. Also on the call with us today is my boss, the amazing Lexi Silvers. He is our Chief Engagement Officer, and she's also working on a million great new things for NRPM. It's like Lexi showed up and suddenly NRS is doing all of these new things for NRPM. I don't think that's a coincidence. I just think she knows what she's doing, which is great. Lexi is another great resource. If you have any questions, our contact information will be on the final slide, and you could reach out to either one of us or our communications PR consultant, Beth, with your questions directly. So, social media. So I'm sure everyone knows exactly what social media is. It gives you direct access to people, all kinds of people in your community, people in my community, people across the globe. And what's great about social media is that it's easy for people to find each other through things like hashtags, keywords, and things like that. So today I want to really explore some of the similarities and differences between the social media platforms we recommend, which are the ones to your right: Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and YouTube Shorts. I'm going to talk about why those in particular are the most important, and how you should be using them. And we'll also spend some time discussing keywords, hashtags, and SEO optimization, because I'm also on a journey of learning about how to make sure that our company doesn't essentially get left behind in the digital era. You would be surprised at how much work you could put into your social media and things like that. But if you aren't following these weird, intricate rules that have been put in place to boost engagement, then you may be doing all of that work in vain. It could be great work and still not getting the attention it deserves because of things like keywords and hashtags. So first, I want to just really quickly go through the recommended social media platforms. Hopefully you are familiar with all of these and have an account on all of these. If you don't, I would recommend spending just a little bit of time creating an account. I thought about spending some time actually opening up each one of these platforms today and walking through them with you. That's kind of a waste of time. I don't know if we need to go in that great of detail, but I will make sure to provide links to each one of these platforms offers a web page that really breaks down exactly how each of their tools functions and works. So I'll make sure to share that out. I'll also take a look at some of the pages in our social media toolkit that talks about those exact things. So first is Facebook. Facebook still today is the most popular platform based on the number of active users. All of Facebook is basically a place for you to share text posts, images, or videos They also allow you to create event pages. They have like apps and games on Facebook. It really is its own little world in a website. So I think a lot of people would be surprised that the most popular age group on Facebook is actually millennials. So this is not necessarily the age group of people that you are servicing if you're serving young, servicing runaway and homeless youth, but this is a great a group for people to target for participating in NRM, for targeting to increase your donor base, for looking for volunteers and things like that. So I really, despite whether or not you think that young people are on Facebook, I still highly recommend you use Facebook as a way to spread awareness in your community. Instagram is a second platform we recommend. Instagram is owned by Facebook, so a lot of the functionality is very similar, but Instagram doesn't allow just like text-based posts or things like that. It always has to be in the format of an image, whether it's a graphic or a flyer or anything like that. They also allow video content, which, you know, our organization is slowly moving towards having all video content. Instagram is also the birthplace of influencers as we know them. So yes, you could argue that Kim Kardashian was the first influencer, fine, whatever. But realistically, influencers as we know them today, which is like a whole career path where you can make hundreds of thousands of dollars in a year if you play your cards right, it's all started on Instagram. And I say that because Instagram is built for that exact type of engagement. If you play your cards right on Instagram, it's really easy to, over the course of about like 6 to 9 months, like double or triple your following base. But it all depends on how you use things like tags, how you interact with other people, and how you make sure that your presence on your social media pages kind of matches what's on your websites. Threads is a newer social media app that is also owned by Facebook. It's the sister application of Instagram. Sorry to gender Threads, but whatever. The Threads app was created kind of as a response to Twitter, especially as Twitter changed into X and came under new ownership. We prefer Threads mostly because of the security that the website has to offer. Unfortunately, when Twitter went through its ownership changes, they lost a tremendous amount of their security protocols, especially things like two-factor authentication. While we're sure that it doesn't like directly affect us, it does kind of create a pain point for making sure that people aren't able to imitate us or to pretend to be the National Runaway Safe Line or things like that. You would be surprised at how many organizations, especially nonprofits, now have people that are just pretending to be them on Twitter, creating fake donation pages and things like that. And these are accounts that have like hundreds of thousands of followers. They basically work to get lots of followers, people who support different causes, and they will mislead them into doing things like donating to GoFundMe campaigns and stuff like that. They also remove some of our ability to make sure that like when people reach out to us through a DM that they get an automatic response, to know that they're not like that we don't monitor our social media for crisis contacts and things like that. So there's just a little bit of security concerns, and that's why we've moved away from Twitter, but we will become more active on Threads. We're kind of doing like using National Runaway Prevention Month as a soft launch, and you'll see a lot of content coming from there. Threads is really unique because it's built to post a series of things. So like sometimes you'll see on Instagram, people will post like, oh, here are a list of items that you should donate to shelters in the wintertime because they deeply need them. And then each one you can scroll through it like a gallery, and it'll allow up to like, I think 10 different images, and people like one image will be like socks. And this is why socks are important for shelters and things like that. Threads is very similar to that, except it's laid out, like I mentioned before, more similarly to Twitter, where it's a thread that goes from top to bottom. So all the posts read down. It's a little bit easier to read. So we'll actually be using Threads really heavily during Education Week to make sure that all of the information that we share is linked together. Another social media platform we recommend is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a networking platform mostly used by business professionals. They allow text-based posts, but they also allow images and videos. What's unique about LinkedIn is that they have realized that it's the only social media platform where the majority of their users are willing to sit down and read like essays, like long form posts. So I highly recommend using LinkedIn for all of your events to spread like anything that you're doing in your community that you want to bring awareness to, post it on LinkedIn, but also spend time writing about that event, going into depth about what National Runaway Prevention Month is. Every time you post on LinkedIn is an opportunity to spread a pretty large amount of information that you wouldn't be able to get away with on Facebook or on Instagram. So LinkedIn is really great for that. It is also really great for establishing connections with other organizations, and making sure that you, all of your like employees and staff are connected with the organization so that the connections kind of come in more naturally. So like I, as an employee of the National Runaway Safe Line, have connected with the organization, and now all of my connections can also like see regularly what's going on with National Runaway Safe Line and get all of the information that we're sharing on there. A newer platform, which is staggeringly popular among young people, is TikTok. TikTok is, again, staggeringly popular. Last year, the TikTok website had more visits than Google, which is a little bit on the wild side. So with that being said, TikTok is a purely video-based platform, which means that you can't just post like still images and things like that on TikTok. It has to be in a video format. But there are some really great websites that help you create video content out of text and text-based things. Like if you look at the National Runaway Safe Line TikTok account, there are a lot of graphics that are animated, and there we use a resource called Canva, which essentially lets you create graphics that, but it's as simple as creating like a PowerPoint presentation. So if you're familiar with like creating PowerPoints, lining things up and things like that, then it's a great resource to use. I'll make sure to, as I mentioned, I'll mention quite a few different tools that we use at National Runaway Safe Line to help with our social media and things like that. But I'll make sure to share that list with everyone on this call at the end of the call, just so you can like check those out for yourself. The last one that we recommend is a YouTube social media platform, YouTube Shorts. This is a little tricky. So, and I'll get into this a little bit more when we talk about SEO optimization, but YouTube Shorts we don't post on YouTube Shorts for engagement necessarily. We post on YouTube Shorts to trick Google into making its algorithm pay a little bit more attention to us. When we talk about SEO optimization and things like that, I'll go a little bit more into detail about this. But this is a really important step for us, as we've realized that like our organization is starting to fall in certain search results. So again, I'll come back to that a little bit later, but it's really important to, if you want to increase your visibility on search engines, joining YouTube Shorts and regularly posting there and engaging with other people really, really helps Google recognize your organization more. So I want to jump right into SEO optimization, but first I just want to make sure I'm not moving too fast, that I'm not missing any questions or anything like that. So does anyone have any questions that they want to jump in with or anything? I'm looking. Okay, sweet. Okay, so search engine optimization. So when you talk about search engine optimization, you're talking about improving your visibility on search engines. So Google, Microsoft, Bing, Yahoo still has a search. This also includes the search functions on Instagram and TikTok and other social media sites. Google used to allow you to tell them exactly how you wanted things to look when they search for your organization. For instance, like on the National Runaway Safe Line, I could just log into Google and say, this is what I want you to say about us. This is, these are the photos that I want to show. These are the reviews that I want you to feature. I want you to remove these reviews because they're negative or missing context, that kind of thing. Now, in order to present a more honest look at different websites and organizations, Google bases your placement results off of search engine optimization keywords that you input into your website. And they also are looking at things on your website, such as the titles of different pages, the headers that you're using on your website. So if you have a blog and you're posting like a header on that blog, then it looks for specifically the HTML coding or the CSS coding or whatever like your website's built on for headers so that they can pull that information to say like, oh, this is, if you're searching for this, this is a great place to go to. They also look at the descriptions that you use on your website. So with every page that you build, you should be able to add like a featured image and a description. It really pays close attention to those things. And then it also looks at your social media accounts. So it's so important that you have links that go back and forth between the two. We have a website called Linktree, which basically allows us to post all of our social media accounts on one page. And we actually use that to make sure that there's interconnectivity between all of our different platforms. Before we do that, I want to show everyone kind of what that looks like. So I may be getting a little ahead of myself, but I'll go ahead and share that now. So essentially, this is the back end of the National Runaway Safe Line website. This is specifically the National Runaway Prevention Month page. And this is what any WordPress website looks like. If you use a Squarespace, it looks really similar. On pretty much any website that you have, you should have a section that is called Rank Math. Rank Math basically tells you how well you're doing at SEO optimization. Right now, our National Runaway Prevention Month has scored an 83 out of 100, which is really great. To give you a little context, because most people don't look at SEO optimization, the average SEO score on websites is somewhere between a 13 and a 20. Mostly just because people don't take the time to make sure that these things are matched, because Google has just made these changes in like the past 4 or 5 years. So I'm going to show you what I mean when I say that things should be connected. You see right here, the title of the page is National Runaway Prevention Month. That is readable in this image here, which is the featured image. Yes, Google and all of these search engines, they can also read images. So they're looking for consistency. You also have it in the URL. So the URL here is NRPM, which is National Runaway Prevention Month. When you actually open up our rank math, it tells you right here, based on how you set up the website, exactly what Google is going to put on the website. You can click edit the snippet here, which will allow you to make changes. And it also will give you a grade based on how you're using these spaces. This is actually why our rank is not a 100, is because it's telling us that we're using too many words here for our description, but we need all of those words to really accurately describe what NRPM is in a short phrase. And then below that, it has the focus keywords. This is the money. So here are the most important keywords that you'll need to focus on during the month. So the first one is NRPM, because this is what we want people to see immediately when they search for NRPM. When you search for National Runaway Prevention Month now, I believe that we're actually second in the results, and we're even being beat out by somebody who is NRMP. They're so popular that they've told Google that people who are searching for NRPM are more than likely searching for something like this. This affects us doubly because it's a resident matching program. So it's all about housing. So we've been working on 2 years on like trying to overcome this and fix this, but it's kind of, it's one of those things where like they've paid for a better ranking. So it's a little more difficult. But what Google is looking at here, you see we have our NRPM listed on the website as a title with National Runaway Prevention Month in the parentheses. Those match what are in these keywords. The most important one, which will be the one you list first, is the most important keyword. So we put NRPM. You'll see some other ones through here that are also important, but just NRPM is kind of like the one that we are paying most attention to. So you'll see things in here like when people search for partners, partner registration, Wear Green Day, National Runaway Prevention Month, all of those things. Also some like common search terms such as I want to run away. Will my friend get in trouble if I go stay with them? Drop-in centers. I'll go through some tags that you can use a little bit later in the presentation. So SEO optimization is important because you basically are giving yourself you're basically giving yourself a little bit more control over how your business is presented on Google. So on Google in particular, they have something called a Google Business Profile. If you have not already claimed your organization through Google Business Profiles or created a Google Business Profile, you should do that immediately after this call, because this allows you to make suggested edits for this little sidebar. You know, when you search Google, when I just, for your organization, like I search for the National Runaway Safe Line here. On this side, it comes up with some specific information, like our rating on Google reviews, the website, directions, and things like that. So you can make exact edits to this. Like it'll let you change what the website URL is, directions on how to get to the organization, your phone number, and things like that. What it won't let you control now is what appears here, where it says call 100 runaway if you're thinking of runaway from home. So we had to like basically build our website so that Google would read our titles and things like that to come up with this paragraph here. Oops, I forget you can't click on this without going through. So it's really important to make sure that you have that Google business profile set up so that you can make these suggested edits, especially during National Runaway Prevention Month, like adding in those keywords to make sure that like if someone in your local area searches for National Runaway Prevention Month, that it's more likely that the search results shows your organization so that they can get involved in your community than it does ours. That's the way that we want it to work. Yes, it's great if you search NRPM and people come directly to us, but what's more important is that people engage in the awesome, amazing community events and social media events that you guys are going to be hosting. So I'm opening my email box for that today. If you need help, like establishing your Google business profile, if you're unsure of whether or not that's set up for you, send me an email and let's talk about how to get that taken care of before National Runaway Prevention Month. What's cool about that is it also lets you choose which images show up. This is one of the few things that you can have a direct influence over. I will say though, if your organization ever went like viral for some reason and there was like a meme that someone was using, there's a good chance that that meme could be stuck with you forever. So it's really good to know how to make changes to the image that show up when people search for you. Some of the example keywords I'll put on the list are here. So for National Runaway Prevention Month, the tags that you should be using in every post and on all of your web pages related to NRPM are these three here. These are the tags that are going to connect the National Runaway Prevention Month community so that everyone who is putting out content is linking them together. So like if you go on TikTok and search National Runaway Prevention Month 2023, then those first results for you are going to be the organizations who are sharing those tags. After that, it's going to show people who have something in their image that the service can read that they think is talking about NRPM. So by adding those tags into everything that you do, so I'm talking about captions on your social media pages. I'm talking about also that SEO where you can enter in those keywords. You want to make sure that those are all listed there. And you also want to make sure there are some consistencies in what you're posting for the keywords on social media, but there are also some differences. Like on TikTok specifically, they have their own little communities that they call like talks. I'm probably saying that wrong, but you may have heard of things like Mom Talk or kindergarten talk, where it's just a community specifically posting content about a specific thing. So one of the ones that we have found a lot of success in sharing is nonprofits of TikTok, mostly because other nonprofit organizations are looking through that hashtag at other organizations, or people who are just looking for somewhere to donate their time, or other resources are looking through that nonprofits of TikTok to see what good is being done in their area or nationwide. With that, also, you want to add tags for things that people are commonly searching for. So like if you have a youth action board, one great question that you can present to them is like, if you needed help today and you didn't know about the services we offered, what would you search for? Some people are searching for things like, I need help, I want to run away, it's simple as that. But like you can get really specific with it. It's things like, what is the legal emancipation age in my state? Things like that. You don't want to ignore the variety of questions that young people can be asking through these hashtags. And what's great about both of these services is as you're typing in the hashtag, it tells you how many people have already engaged with that hashtag. So if you go onto Instagram and in your caption, you want to put hashtag LGBTQ awareness, it'll pop up with the thing saying 2.4 million people have talked about this topic. Or 13,000 people have talked about this topic. So I, of course, recommend that you don't always go with the one that has the highest number of people engaging, because it could be harder to sort through those, especially if you don't have a huge following. But be consistent. Use the ones that other partners are using so that people are able to find them there. this presentation will be available, of course, online so that you can see these and add these as you wish. And then I've also on the right side added some search engine optimization tag options that you can add into your website on your own. These are some pretty obvious ones like National Runaway Prevention Month, NRPM 2023, Shine a Light, things like that. Also being specific again, like I mentioned, volunteering, Chicago, or NRPM, Nashville. This helps make sure that people are coming to your organization specifically. And I'm telling you, these search engines are a lot smarter than we probably give them credit for. By adding in that Nashville tag or that Chicago tag or that Florida tag, you are helping the search engine narrow the people who are coming to your, or who are going to find you through the search results. And you may say like narrow sounds like less people, but it's more likely that those people spend a good amount of time on your website instead of just clicking in and leaving. Or it's more than likely that these people engage with your social media instead of just scrolling past your post or double clicking. The way that you really measure social media success isn't necessarily through the number of likes or the number of followers, but it's about like how much time people are spending on each one of your posts. It's about where they're going after your post. If someone reads, because your phone follows everything that you do. If you are on Instagram and you search for Rhymes, the organization that I was talking about, we have someone from Rhymes on the call with us today. So if you were to search for that, I've lost track of my thoughts, even just looking for someone to talk about. But yeah, if you wanted someone to like look directly at that organization or find that, or let me back up here. If there's someone in that area, in your local area that you wanted to find that, then it's so important that you use those tags because again, the search engine is going to help narrow down the people that are coming to that website so that instead of giving you a large quantity of people, they're focusing on bringing you quality traffic. So people that are, again, going to spend lots of time on your pages and hopefully spread information about that. And then what it's also doing is it's tracking what they're doing after they leave that page. So if you're on the Rhymes Instagram page, for instance, and Rhymes is posting about National Runaway Prevention Month, and then afterwards you go on your web browser and go to 1-800-runaway.org/National Runaway Prevention Month, or you search for National Runaway Prevention Month, then the search engine is logging that behavior and like looking for ways to amplify that behavior because they recognize that as valuable traffic. So that's why it's important to have all of this interconnectivity here, is because it essentially helps all of us. The more people that participate in making sure that their tags are are on their website, on their social media pages, the more likely that we're going to get extra attention from these search engines and from social media websites because they think that there's some type of movement happening. And there is. We're doing so much work that if the way that NRPM has grown in the past 3 years to where we're having like more representation in almost every state and hundreds of partners, if it had been that big like 10 years ago, then it would have gone viral just with that, like just with the amount of people who are engaging. But today you have to be so much more intentional. You basically have to force Google to look at you and make the decision that what we're doing is trending. So that's why it's so important for everyone to make sure that they're using especially these 3 main hashtags on all of their social media posts, because it essentially is saying, hey, something's happening here. There's lots of people who are posting about this. And then we're going to like look and see that, yeah, they're posting about it on their social media and they also have this dedicated web page for it. So this is just driving up the traffic. It's also helping people go from one page to the other. So it's more likely that if you do this, then when people are searching for things, that your organization pops up again, especially if it's somebody coming from your local area. The last part is the downloadable resources. So last week or the week before, we finished uploading all of the different resources that we're going to share for National Runaway Prevention Month. So we have different social media graphics. So for example, the social media blast, which is November the 1st, the very first day of National Runaway Prevention Month, we've shared a bunch of different graphics and different styles. So we have like still images, we have animated images that have movement, and actually all of these have versions of all. Like, so if there's, you can find a version for each of those for each graphic. So there's a square version of each graphic, a moving square version of each graphic, and then this longer version, which is formatted specifically for TikTok, Instagram stories, and Reels and things like that. So if you go to the website, it's actually laid out pretty nicely in comparison to last year, where we're just kind of like in a zip file. You can actually preview each one of the images and see what they're going to do. Same with Education Week. It's all built into the website so that you can preview what it's going to do and decide which ones you want to post, unless you want to post them all. And then we offer a social media toolkit, which I'll look at in a minute to show you some of the things that I discussed a little bit earlier in the call. So I'm going to quickly switch back to the web browser here so I can show you all of these things. This is the National Runaway Prevention Month website. If you're looking for the resources, then you can click this little button here. It'll drag you right down to the bottom of the page, or you can just scroll down. The toolkits are available here. You can click preview, which will take you to a preview of the toolkit, or you can download it directly, which will download it in a PDF format. When you're looking at that, what's cool about that is all of the things that I mentioned today are also in the book. So like here are those hashtags that you should be including in every post, plus some special ones for specific events that are happening, like Wear Green Day, Light the Night, and the NRPM chat. I've included some of those platform-specific hashtags, like the ones for Instagram and for TikTok. And then I've gone in and pulled some specific information about the kind of differences between the tools that each one of these social media platforms offers. So like on TikTok, what they call a duet or a stitching is called something completely different on Instagram, or it doesn't exist on Instagram. So we really break it down so you have like a full definition of what these things are and what the goal of each one of those is. And then it previews some of the graphics. You can see all of those here. We have some pretty beautiful pictures from people who participated last year. And then if you want to look at the graphics that are available, I have a few different links that you can click. There's virtual meeting backgrounds, social media blast graphics, and the Education Week graphics. We'll take a look at the social media blast graphics really quickly, just so you can see what I mean when I say there's multiple versions. So I've uploaded just still versions of each image, which is just a non-moving square image. You can see all of those here. And then there are animated versions, which just have a little bit of movement. It just draws the eye better. Or for platforms that require that you have video content, this is what you'll want to share. And then those same ones are formatted for Instagram Reels or TikTok or things like that below. So they're just longer versions that are formatted to work on those social media platforms. Same with Education Week. It's all laid out here for you. What's different about Education Week is that for the video graphics, I made it a little more simplified. So if you're on your social media pages and you're posting for Social Media Week, like we have the version where you can post each individual image here. We have an extra one for mental health because there's so much great mental health data out there that's really helpful. But we also have animated versions. However, on the animated versions, as you can see, it moves. It shuffles through each one of those facts for a short period of time. So again, these are formatted for places like TikTok, where they're not going to allow you to just post an image. It moves through each one of those facts, and you'll just want to provide whichever information on in your caption. One thing that we're doing this year that's a little differently, when you open these up, it says citations available at 1-800-runaways.org/edweek. So you'll be able to go there and actually pull all of the different data points that we talked about and get the source from those. We are not the source for all of these data points. Of course, when we're talking about why people seek crisis services, it's all coming from our upcoming 2022 crisis services report. But we love to lean on other organizations to like pick their brains about things that they specialize in. So for human trafficking, we look to organizations like the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, or Polaris. For dating violence, we love to talk with Love is Respect. They have so much great information about teen dating violence awareness. Mental health can be a few different places. We lean on the Trevor Project, who does an incredible mental health survey every year, specifically for LGBTQ plus people. We also lean on like organizations like SAMHSA and the Mental Health Alliance America. For our identity and orientation, I think all of these are from the Trevor Project survey. So again, it's not just one place that we're getting all of this data from. It's from a few different places. So we're making sure that people who specialize in these topics are presenting the data because they can give a bit greater detail. And then the last thing I want to show you was the YouTube Shorts thing. And I'll just talk about this for a little while I pull it up. But essentially, about 3 or 4 years ago, Google changed the way that their algorithm reads websites so that they can pull information from you. It's not really something that people had to do any like change themselves, but if you didn't make changes, then you might notice that you're not ranking in the Google search results or the Bing search results like we used to, because now people can kind of game the system to increase their organization's awareness by kind of posting specific hashtags that may or may not actually resonate with what they're doing. So one thing that we've learned is that Google gives a little bit of a special attention to people who participate in all of their services. So for people who back in the day had the Google Plus, I think is what it was called, was like a short-lived social media network that Google created. That went away for a little while and it rematerialized much later as YouTube Shorts. They stripped away most of the features minus the sharing, which allows you to post videos. So YouTube Shorts, I will go here. I'm going to show you all this. Is instead of long form videos, YouTube Shorts allows you to post shorter videos that are up to 60 seconds. So what we learned is that one of the reasons that that we were falling in the Google rankings was because we didn't have the right SEO optimization on our website. Because we didn't have that corrected for so long, then Google basically just stopped paying attention to us and what we were doing. There were other organizations that were starting to rise when you search for National Runaway Safeline even, that were like outranking us, even though we are the National Runaway Safeline. Other organizations that work in the runaway and homeless youth community were outranking us because they were doing a better job. We've corrected all of that now, which is really great. But what we learned in the process is that even though YouTube Shorts is not a popular platform, Google is paying extra attention to it because they want people to engage in it more. So we worked with an organization in Atlanta called Ideas United, and they basically helped us pull together a long list of content, which are all of these videos that you're seeing, starting with this lovely gentleman here. These are all snippets from old videos that we had. We didn't necessarily feel like they represent who we are today. They definitely have a lot of old, outdated information in them. But what we did was that we basically set up a calendar to share these videos at different times during the day. And by posting so many videos, it essentially woke Google's algorithm up and made it pay more attention to us for even just a short period of time. So you can see here that there's a kind of a range of views that we're getting, whether it's like 65 views or 300 views or just over 1,000 views here. We basically like figured out, use different hashtags in each one of these to figure out what was going to get us the best results. And we've used that to inform how we're going to use YouTube Shorts on during National Runaway Prevention Month. So we're not doing anything special for YouTube Shorts. We're basically going to take all of the content that we would post on TikTok and just post it on YouTube Shorts. But by doing this, we have awoken or waken up, I don't know what the proper way to say that is, but now Google's algorithm is paying more attention to us because we've posted these YouTube Shorts. So now we have noticed that our ranking in the Google results has increased. We've noticed that even on our other social media websites that we're getting more traffic, especially on Instagram and TikTok. Like I posted a video on TikTok the other day and it got more views in an hour than any of our other videos have had after like 5 or 6 days, minus just a couple of other videos that have randomly gone viral. So it's just more people are able to easily find our information on social media websites because we've taken the time to go through and update all, like basically how we're approaching this social media thing. And it's such a long, nuanced journey that we spent a good amount of time on. You know, I hope that one day that we can actually host a much longer call about ways for nonprofits to work together or work with other organizations to increase their presence online and to adjust their SEO so that it's up to date, because a lot of people are still following old, outdated SEO rules. So if you or someone at your organization knows a lot about SEO and is interested in talking about that or doing a panel about that, I'd love to put something like that together for all of us, because I know everyone on this call, everyone in our community could use help increasing the awareness that comes from their websites and their social media. Everyone wants to be like the Trevor Project and have 1 million followers, which essentially equates to hundreds of thousands of people who may or may not donate to the organization or may not share a link to something that you post. So with that being said, I will conclude the presentation here. I will put it back up so that you can see our contact information. And of course, if you have any questions, now is the perfect time to ask. I would love to hear what your thoughts are, any concerns that you have, any work that you've done yourself on SEO optimization, any suggested keywords or search terms that you have, anything like that. Please take it away. Or you can
Hey, Christopher, this is Michelle from the National Women's Coalition Against Violence and Exploitation. I have just a couple questions in regards to the shorts on YouTube. What is the longest timing of it? 30 seconds, 20 seconds?
To my understanding, there's 60 seconds. I believe
60? Okay.
you can like pay to post longer ones, but the idea is that they're all up to 60 seconds. They want it to be shorter and more digestible, so they have required that it be shorter than the regular YouTube videos.
Gotcha. And then also, we've noticed a lot of media, mainstream media or influencers on like Instagram, when they use their tags, they do a period, space, period, space, period, and then they put all the tags down at the like total end where you barely can see them. Is there a reason for that? Is that helping with the SEO, or what's the purpose?
Actually, that's a really fabulous question. This is one of those little stupid things where if you just don't know it, then you don't know it, and you're like losing out. On Instagram specifically, and on TikTok, which is where I imagine you're seeing this, they are looking for two places for tags. The first place is in the very first comment, which is your caption. So they're looking for I'm sorry, let me back up. They're looking in your caption. So basically what you put in, like whenever you're posting something, the little bit of text that you add with that, you definitely want to add your tags in there. The second place you can add that is in the very first comment. So if you post something with a caption and then immediately post your tags in that first comment, then you're good to go. The reason people are doing the spacing is because it's more beneficial to do it in your caption, but you in most cases don't necessarily want people to like focus on what the actual keywords are. So the keywords are more, and the hashtags are more for you to make sure that your content is popping up in all of the right places. But it's not necessarily always something that you want people to look at your caption and click on that keyword and go somewhere else. What you want is when people search for those terms on social media, or if people are browsing a bunch of posts that have that NRPM hashtag, then what's going to show up in their searches and on their For You page are things that have those tags in them. So like, for instance, all of the people who support National Runaway Safeline, because not only do we follow your organization, Michelle, on social media, but because we'll share a lot of those same tags, when they do not, like when they're looking through their social media at stuff that's unrelated to NRPM, there's a good chance that your information is going to pop up in there because they know that they're interested. So by adding those tags, you're essentially doing what I mentioned before, which is making sure that we're all kind of connected together in some ways. Does that answer your question? Any other questions? That's actually a really fabulous question. I recommend. What's funny is that you can. Every social media website has the options for tags. Like LinkedIn has a hashtag option, completely useless. Facebook has a hashtag option, almost completely useless. Um, there's not really a lot of interconnectivity on those websites in particular. When you talk about hashtags, the most important places it is to use those are on Instagram and TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and Threads. You can still use them on Facebook, but the Facebook algorithm isn't looking for keywords on their website to dictate where people are going or what they're seeing. Unfortunately, much like Twitter, Facebook has kind of become more of a pay to play kind of thing. So if you aren't spending money on Facebook, there's just a good chance that people who aren't already your followers are not going to see that. They're just not going to see it. And what's worse is that they've made it so that probably even all of the people that follow you are not going to see your content. All of these organizations, unfortunately, like TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, want you to spend money, especially if you have a business account. It's like a trap. They make everything so much more difficult for you. So when you sign up for Instagram specifically, they reduce the amount of tools and assets you're able to access without paying extra. They say it's like a licensing thing, like they take away all of the music options that are that would normally require like you get the rights to share them to do any type of promotion. Then they only allow you to use music that's rights free.
Yeah, it's funny you mention that because on my personal Instagram page, I can use any kind of genres of music, high profile singers, etc. But on NW Cave's page, we get free music.
Exactly. Yeah. That, they're saying that oh, it's all about like making sure that you're not promoting something and then using this artist's work without their permission and things like that, which is totally valid.
Mm-hmm.
But realistically, what they want you to do is spend money on other things. Also on business profiles, you're more likely to get ads from like Instagram saying, hey, this post was successful. You should pay us just a little bit of money to boost this awareness. So where back in the day, your posts would be guaranteed to at least be in any of your followers' timeline, just depending on whether or not they were following you. If they were following you, there's a good chance if they scrolled far enough that they would see your posts before they saw anything else. Now, Instagram and TikTok and all of these other social media websites have made it so that you're more likely to see people you don't follow or know before you see your own friends or supporters. And that's
Gotcha.
all just goes into their, like, they want people to engage more with things outside of what they normally browse for. So they spend more time on the website, but they also want you to pay for ad space. They want you to, they'll say, like, oh, we noticed that this post only reached 20% of your followers. We can help you reach that other 80% if you just pay us like $100. So, unfortunately, we live in a world where you're going to be better off if you spend money on these ads and promoting your events and things like that. But if you lean into the social media, if you lean into the search engine optimization, into the keywords, into the ads, you're giving yourself a leg up on everyone else who doesn't have the ability to just spend tons and tons of money. I mean, we work at nonprofits. There's a good chance that we don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars in our budget every year to spend just on social media. So the whole point of this all is to make sure that we can do as much as we can to overcome that, specifically this idea that you have to pay to get any attention. Any other questions? You can ask me anything. It's the last call, so you can get away with anything at this point. And I'm also welcoming any questions related to things that are not about social media or SEO optimization. If you have any questions about SEO optimization in general, feel free to ask. If you want to know which day I'm going to go see the Beyonce movie in theaters, I'm happy to tell you. If you want to know my thoughts on what Taylor Swift album is best, sure, go for it. Also, you may notice today I'm drinking a Sprite instead of bubbly because I became addicted to bubbly very quickly and it was starting to eat up my monthly food budget. And no one wants to eat just carbonated water. It's not a good meal. All right. I, for some reason, can't see the chat anymore. I just want to make sure I haven't missed any questions there because I haven't seen that. Yeah, I see that other people are talking about like making the choice to delete the Twitter. We haven't fully deleted our Twitter. We still let it sit there. Every now and then we'll post things on there. We're kind of seeing how it goes, but pretty soon Twitter is going to start charging. I think at the beginning of the year, actually, like you'll have to pay $1 to just even post. Otherwise, you'll only be able to like see what other people are posting. We are not going to pay that $1. All right. My mailbox is open. Lexi's mailbox is open. Beth's email box is open. If you guys have any questions about anything that happened today, please, please, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're more than happy to help you with anything that you need. Anything. We are just about a week and a half away from National Runaway Prevention Month kicking off. So you'll see some updated information coming out from us, including the dates of this year's Lunch and Learns, which we're really excited about. Those I think will all be coming out in just the next couple of days. So be on the lookout for your in your mailbox. And then also, please don't forget to share the link to sign up as a partner with your with any other organizations that you think would be a good fit or who are already doing the work in most cases. The only commitment that you're making when you sign up for being a partner for National Runaway Prevention Month is that you won't stand for young people experiencing homelessness being just this thing that happens. We all want to make a difference and we all want to make a change. And National Runaway Prevention Month is our biggest effort in spreading awareness every year. So please get as many people as you can to participate and sign up. And don't forget to share the things that you're doing with us in our email so that we can keep track from you. But a big secret is if you use those hashtags, we will find you and we will see you and we will recognize you. Thanks, everyone. I will get all of this presentation uploaded in the next hour or so. And again, please email me your questions if you have any. Have a good day.